Hello, everyone. I wanted to review the Reading 3 quiz from Borderlands. All of the questions actually came from the same section of the text, really the one I was commenting on in my last video. The section here, um, not that. Yes, cultural tyranny, or around that part. The first question was, what name does Anzaldua give to the rebel in her? And the answer to that is just the shadow beast, which I find quite striking. There is a rebel in me, she says here. The shadow beast. It is a part of me that refuses to take orders from outside authorities. It refuses to take orders from my conscious will. It threatens the sovereignty of my rulership. It is that part of me that hates constraints of any kind, even those self imposed, at least the hint of limitations on my time or space by others. It kicks out with both, at the least hint, excuse me, at the least hint of limitations on my time or space by others, it kicks out with both feet bolts. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty interesting. You wonder if you have your own shadow beast inside of you. She is obviously rebelling or finding her way out of a lot of different constraints in her life, both individually, culturally, in all sorts of ways. And at the same time, trying to maintain her love of her traditional culture, but also rejecting the kind of constraints that it puts on her, especially as a woman and perhaps as a gay woman as well. Uh, so, yeah, the shadow beast. Next question was, according to Ansaldua, who gets to make culture? Very interesting answer there. It's men. Under cultural tyranny here, she says, culture forms our beliefs. We perceive the version of reality that it communicates. Dominant paradigms, predefined concepts that exist as unquestionable, unchallengeable, are transmitted to us through the culture. Culture is made by those in power, men. Men make the rules and laws, women transmit them. So the answer to that is men. And, it's an important part of the thing. Right? Uh, she's a feminist, and she is making, dealing with the fact that, at least according to her, culture and her own culture that forms her is a patriarchal one made by men. Question three. According to Ansel Dua, what are the three directions a woman could turn in her culture? Interesting and rather uh, disturbing answer to that. On the next page, page 39, she says the culture expects women to show greater acceptance of and commitment to the value system than men. The culture, and that's interesting, right? Because men make the culture, but women are expected to be the transmitters of it and to obey the values of that culture more strictly than men. The culture and the church insist that women are subservient to males. If a woman rebels, she is I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish, a mujer mala. Sorry, I'm sure I mangled that. I don't know what mujer means. Mala means evil, right? Pretty sure. If a woman doesn't renounce herself in favor of the male, she is selfish. If a woman remains a virgin, barehead, until she marries, she is a good woman. For a woman of my culture, there used to be only three directions she could turn: to the church as a nun, to the streets as a prostitute, or to the home as a mother. So that's the answer, right? That is, in the culture, at least, that she grew up in, the state of Chicano culture at her time. And I think that she grew. I don't know what her dates are. Actually, she talks about teaching in like 1971. So I'm imagining she grew up in the 50s and 60s. But there are only three options for a woman in her culture, and that's to be a nun, a prostitute, or a homemaker. So that's the answer. And of course, she takes a fourth way, by getting, getting an education and becoming a teacher and going out into the wider world and forming a more untraditional role for herself. But that's the answer, right? There were three directions, and that's nun, prostitute, or homemaker. Finally, question 4. What does Anzaldúa say mothers in her culture taught them about men? And this is really striking and really disturbing, right? Um, she says here, culture, read males, professes to protect women. Actually, it keeps women in rigidly defined roles. It keeps the girl child from other men. Don't poach on my preserves. Only I can touch my child's body. Our mothers taught us well. I know I'm not going to try to kill the Spanish there. Men aren't to be trusted. I mean, that's really the answer. What is it? What is her culture teaches? But men aren't to be trusted. They are selfish and are like children, mothers made. Sure, we didn't walk into a room of brothers or fathers or uncles in nightgown or shorts. We were never alone with men, not even those of our own family. The men are not to be trusted, that they're dangerous, is the answer. And that's very disturbing, but that is the answer. That's what she says. She was taught about men as a child.